and welcome to Wyverns and Weirdos, Fathomless, the tabletop podcast set in the world of Fierlor. I am your storyteller and dungeon master, Darby. Joining me as always are Mitch, playing Neris, Jake, playing the Fishman, Laura, playing Janice, and Zoe, playing Loren. Let's jump into it. And in the immediate end of the conversation, Janice reminded Neris that the team he had assembled all supported one another and that together they could change the world. So, Neris and Janice, we pick back up with the two of you in conversation.
I think after hearing everything that Janice has just said, Neris is definitely quiet for a little bit. And if you're looking at him, there is an expression on his face that hasn't been there for a while.
Okay. Well, to kick off the episode, I might roll a cheeky insight check, actually. Roll dice, that's the thing we do.
Neris is trying to hide it, but he's not. Okay.
Yeah. Alright. Let's see. So that's a 15 from Janice.
Natural one.
Sorry, Neris. Tell me all your secrets.
Overarching, there is confusion and vulnerability that was there before, but now it's a different kind. And you get a sense that he is trying to hide something, but you get a feeling that it is a certain level of respect and admiration.
Excellent. Janice won't observe him for much longer. It's a quick glance. But he almost just sort of like nods at the silence. And then, because they're quite he's standing quite close already to Neris, I believe, at this point. So he just pats him on the shoulder and then sort of straightens up a little bit. But doesn't step back. He's like, think on that. As for the events of just recently, what are your thoughts on the matter? This is something... Oh, sorry.
It is unfortunate that we do not appear to be alone in our pursuits.
No. Seems to be a completely different factor altogether, perhaps, as far as we know. And much more interesting. It is terrible what happened. But even when you strode out there, they did not seem to target you or the orb of power. Which just makes me wonder, it can't have been coincidence that they attacked. But this was an attack to instill fear and pain in its pointlessness. Do you have any idea why?
At the moment, I have some ideas, each one more confusing and raising more questions than the last.
I suppose when you start with a man from the future that wears the same face as you, opens up many doors to many impossible and strange theories and possibilities for anything, really.
Indeed, the impossible is not anymore, and that is something that I have not experienced for.
Both frightening and endlessly exciting.
There is a twitch in Neris's face when you say exciting, which, because he rolled a 1 before. You've worked with Neris for a while. One of his flaws, is also one of his greatest attributes, in that he relentlessly pursues the knowledge of the unknown. If there is a puzzle to be solved, he wants to be involved in solving it. If there is something that is unknown, he wishes for it to be known.
Janice's gaze sort of lingers again over his face and then drifts down a bit and then just focuses back on Neris's features instead. It must be a difficult time to be filled with such uncertainty and yet feel that pull of the potential. I can understand it myself. This, whatever we undertake, is going to take us into uncharted waters, and that is both terrifying and dangerous and endlessly fascinating. I can think of no one better than to travel it with me.
It is a good team we have.
You have assembled a very good team, and, if I may, thinking on your words earlier, you said that you wish to find out why you must fight. Perhaps until you need to never do it again, and that is enough. Your guilt for someone you will never become is enough. For now, we will do what we can to change the future. For now, all you need to do is find out what the next step is.
Thankfully, the next step will be much easier to find, thanks to our adventures in the caves.
Yes, I am much interested to see the ship. I hope this much fought for orb will give us the magic we need to carve our path.
So do I. I do believe in the knowledge that I have been given over this. I, however, cannot... It is difficult to fathom the amount of power that this crystal can hold. I just hope that it will be enough.
That is the most we can hope. May I ask you one more question?
Of course.
Since I left, have you still been dreaming?
𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 is silent for a while, and finally he will respond in a manner of speaking.
Like the hourglass? Things move so quickly we scarce had time to reconvene on that and what that might have all meant.
I have been experimenting with magic and the mind. I feel there is potential that some of my visions are not my own. Some of the dreams are not my own. I'm trying to figure out whether or not they could have been shaped, designed, implanted.
I see. So you can find out whether you can trust your own dreams again then. Whether they are painted by another hand.
I think whether or not the dreams of my past have been tampered with, I may have found a way to shape those of the future.
He nods down at you. His eyes light up a little bit. He is impressed. You don't need to roll anything to see that. He just nods. Well, you are full of surprises. It truly is incredible the amount of magic and potential you hold within you. A way to shape the future. A way to change dreams. A way to traverse through space.
Independently, I hope to do all of those things. My magic at the moment is just traversing through the mind, if you will. But we shall see. There is still work to be done on it.
Well, I shall be interested to hear how you progress then.
When it works, you shall be the first to know.
Then I wish you the best of luck. And again, if you need any assistance in any of these things, or merely a shoulder to lean upon, I might be captain, but you are the director. We are on equal footing.
Well, this was an enlightening conversation. And you see we've arrived after walking at a rather well-to-do place.
Jonas sort of snaps to attention with his arms behind his back as he looks up, but it's almost like a shadow kind of passes over his face as he observes this like really quite well-to-do sort of locale.
Thank you for escorting me. I have arrived safely thanks to you.
It is of no trouble. I am glad that there were no entities bearing ill will. This will be safe for you. These are your lodgings of current.
This is a safe place, yes.
It is very grand. Wow.
Indeed it is.
Well, this won't look like a great deal at all then, but considering. And he reaches into sort of like the side of where his like breastplate is, and he pulls out a small bottle of whiskey and holds it out. He's like, for your dreams, regardless.
𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 will control his emotions, but will subtly reach out and grab that bottle, yes.
And he just sort of like stands there for a couple of beats more and then just nods and is like, well, have a good night then, Director.
And you too, Captain.
And Janus grins this big sharp tooth grin at him and nods again, and then we'll stride out into the...
Neris will watch Janus go, and then we'll enter the abode.
Do you do anything in particular upon your entry, Neris?
Neris is going to try and study this rock. We're first going to reach out to our, I think currently unnamed patron who's been funding a lot of this, whose house I'm currently in, and the two of us will work on identifying the uses and benefits, practicality of this particular crystal.
Okay. And do you eventually find rest, or do you stay up into the night?
I think he would go to sleep because he's had a big day.
Okay.
But it would be late in the evening and he would wake up late in the morning.
Okay. Janus, in returning to the tavern or I assume you return to the tavern, or do you do...
Yeah. So Janus, sort of the second that he leaves Neris' sight, he sort of... his features shift to just become this nondescript sort of person as the sort of breeze of sea air sort of winds around him and changes his shape. And there's just random guy will return back to the tavern, at which point once he steps inside and sort of makes his way towards the hallway where we're currently lodging, sort of steps around probably a bunch of I don't know, dismayed staff members, possibly even some guards or something. He will then sort of shift and just nod and be like, oh, no, I've got a room here. Or otherwise he'll just slink by. And then he sort of will look around and fish out the little key that he was given, and will go and kind of stops by one of the doors, then kind of looks around and then just kind of shrugs as if he's about to go and like knock on someone else's door. I was like, I don't know where everyone is. So he just goes to his own room and he'll unlock it and go in, like already sort of like unbuckling his armor.
Okay.
Well, it took you damn long enough, says Loren from inside your room.
Without even jumping, Janus doesn't even like turn around. He just like continues unbuckling his breastplate and then just like throws it off in a corner. It's like, how long were you skulking around there in the dark?
I wouldn't call it...
Turns around.
I wouldn't exactly call it skulking. I was more just relaxing. She is like... she's wearing her normal like pants. She's not wearing shoes. She is wearing a fantasy sports bra. And like her ears are out. Her gloves aren't on. This is sort of the state she was most often in at your place. And she's just kind of, like perched up like a little gremlin on like one of the chairs in the room, just drinking out of a flask that is full of vinegar. And then as she sits there and as you sort of get undressed, she just almost from nowhere just pulls out like a bottle of bourbon and just plunks it on the table next to you, like next to her, and just goes, I got you a treat.
And Janus kind of like gives her like this long stare and then just like looks her over, pulls off, and then he's already pulled off his breastplate, just like stretches off like the long sort of like one-armed little like undershirt that he has and just throws it off in a corner and then turns around and like pulls out of his pocket like some like strapping or something like that and starts strapping up one of his as he kind of like moves over. It's like, you got my favorite? Did you pay for that or did you steal it like a low-down dirty pirate then?
Well, I think you'll find that there's nowhere really to give money in this place at the moment, so I just sort of, it's going to save them time with the inventory later on, so I don't really think they're going to miss it.
And he kind of like sits down on the bed and just starts, fully like properly strapping up sort of his arm, like his wrist. So he's like, so an act of charity then. Good.
I'm being a good person, I'm trying my best.
Trying your best. Well, you're doing a very good job so far.
Thank you.
You and your 7, 8, tigers? What were they?
They were panthers, thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, they were very blue for panthers. I fought a green panther once, not a blue one.
Oh, all right. You
Yeah.
haven't told me that one before.
Yeah, so one time I had to take a 5-month trek to the Feywild, and they're all green there.
Oh, that's very fascinating. I'll have to visit the Feywild. No, that's just a thing that Triton are taught to do, but all our animals turn out a little fishy.
Ah, excellent. All blessed with the arms of 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 himself.
Okay, we don't have to go that far.
Come on. And he holds his hand out for the bottle that she procured.
She uncorks it and just hands the whole thing to him. He goes, "Oh, so what took you so long? I was beginning to think Neris must have floated away on a breeze and you had to catch him with a butterfly net."
Oh, that is a good one. No butterfly nets involved. No, just walked him home. So make sure that the orb is safe, of course. He takes a swig of the drink and falls
That's
back on the
very
bed.
sweet of you.
Well, it's a good investment.
It certainly is.
And no one attacked us, if that's what you're asking.
Well, honestly, if someone had attacked you on the way there, that's just bad luck on all your parts at this point.
That is very true. It has been a very long day. I don't think my patience would have lasted all that long either.
No, I don't think it would. She kind of nestles in her little gremlin, sit a little like knees up, feet on the chair, kind of chin in her hands. It's been a very long day, hasn't it?
He just looks up at the ceiling for a while and just takes a long, deep breath in and then exhales it. Yes, it has. What'd you say? In the cave. In the test. The trial. The trial of the Sphinx. That has a nice ring to it, I suppose.
A new story for you.
Yes, of course.
Didn't see anything. Just mustn't be scared of nothing. Don't
He sort
honestly.
of, sorry. He sort of props himself up on one arm and kind of turns to look at her. Nothing at all. Wow, you must be fearless. Fearless Loren of the Seven Seas.
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, I don't know what you all are going on about. What do you see?
Nothing at all. I'm also fearless.
She kind of smiles a bit, but then looks down. I saw her. Ex-captain, her.
You saw Cerise.
Mm-hmm.
He does sit up properly now. Kind of kicks off his boots for a moment and then turns fully to face her.
Don't know why.
One of your greatest fears.
No, she's really not. I think it's pretty normal to be scared of her. I think that's an entirely rational response. I don't see why it's a greatest fear. But,
No, that's true. She's very frightening. Went all right then.
All right. And she kind of rubs at the big cut that runs along her chin up onto her cheek. And if you notice, she kind of shifts in her little crouch a bit, and you can see that there's a big bandage patch on the side of her abdomen that was hidden before by her legs.
He's almost halfway about to throw you some bandaging and then just lets it drop on the bed and just folds his arms and sort of leans forward a bit more. Yeah, about that good then.
Yeah, but
If it makes you feel any better, it was my family.
oh, fuck.
Yes, not just normally. They were changed, sort of like the creatures we just fought here, in a way.
I'm sorry.
We got through the test, didn't we? Or most of us.
Most of us. Still that's pretty shit house, Janice.
It's very, very shitty, yes. No, I agree.
You okay?
He just shrugs.
About the same.
We'll get there.
How's the old waif holding up?
Nara.
Aye. It's about the
can't-
size of a paper waif.
He looks down at the bottle he's holding with one hand and takes another little swig and just shrugs. I think he'll be alright. But probably not too great either, I think.
I don't imagine he would.
Yeah, no. Go a bit easier on tomorrow, alright?
Why do you think I'm insulting him now?
True. Do you have any other zingers to get out here? Or, that's what the kids call it, right?
Oh, God. You have kids. You know
Yes.
they've never called it a zinger in their lives.
Yes, but one of them might.
Maybe.
Sounds cool, doesn't it?
No.
It's a fun word. Alright.
Right, any other near singers?
The butterfly one was pretty good.
Thank you. You know, I've had a lot and I've had a lot of death today. I can really only think that he sort of reminds me of if a pencil was a person. And that's all I've really got.
That's a pretty good one. But yes.
Thank you.
Perhaps we can give it a rest, just for a bit. And there has been an awful lot of death today.
She kind of pauses midway to bringing her drink to her mouth and puts it down on the little table next to her, and then just kind of wraps her arms around her knees. There sure was, wasn't there?
Hey.
What?
What you thinking about?
Oh. As she like mimes the little chest bursters.
Yeah, no, that was not good. I've not really fought that much where there have been so many casualties for no reason at all.
No. I don't know, maybe a past version of you from a far more tragic story would relate to this. I'm not used to there being so much death in a room and not having a way to stop it.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's certainly different when you're on the other end.
Man, is this what all the ships we boarded felt like? Fuck.
Yeah. I found pretty soon after I got kicked off mine and sort of had to learn a lot of things and reevaluate a lot of things that once you sort of start to realize what the other half kind of feel like, it actually isn't as much fun anymore, you know? All the plundering and looting and all that.
I feel guilty. I feel responsible.
Oh no, Loren, you know what this means? You know what this means?
What, Janice?
He leans forward and grabs her by the shoulder. It means that you're growing a conscience.
No! Oh, yuck!
No, yes, I'm sorry.
Oh,
but
how could you do this to me?
it's irrevocable proof. I
No.
told you it was happening, and now look, here it is. You feel bad for people being maimed for no reason that we couldn't save.
There's a scallywag. I gotta go stab him. Make myself feel better.
Yeah, you can punch me if you feel like it.
Oh, I'd break me own hand.
You precisely would.
Is this what you felt like all the time?
Yeah, sometimes I still do. Unfortunately, having kids in a family sort of makes it worse sometimes.
God.
Sometimes you sit there and go, wow, all those people that were in this right tavern here that we're staying in probably all had families of some kind. Well, it's pretty fucked, but
It is.
all I can tell is that this was a random act of violence. Who knows what the real reason was? They didn't steal anything, they didn't try to target any of us.
A weird look passes over her face and she goes, yeah, no reason. What?
What's that look for?
What look?
You're doing the look like,
Oh,
you know the look.
no.
The look that my children have been learning.
Hey, you said I was allowed to teach them anything I wanted as long as it wasn't a swear word in comments, so...
Oh, yes, so
yes. What if I taught them a thing or two about how to lie? That's my prerogative.
That's all right. Bob looks very cute when he tries to say he hasn't eaten any out of the cookie jar, so it's fine.
True.
Why are you making that face?
Well, one, you should really keep an eye on Michaela. That girl's a natural.
She's far too similar to me. That's true.
She could do to take after her mother a little more.
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
But, she kind of looks at the ceiling, takes a huge swig of vinegar, pulls a face. What if it wasn't random?
You ever thought otherwise?
Or what if Neris is probably going to think it's about the rock, and I don't know, Fishman's probably going to think it's about something to do with him that is going to give him cause to run off into the wilderness and chase after the big bad guy and have a tea with him. And I don't know, Alton's probably going to think it's just like the man or something, because everyone's the man when you're Alton. And I don't know what you think, but... Honk!
And what do you think? Sorry.
Exley was here. I'm the only one he's met before properly.
Yes, you're right. That underwater cave.
What if... And she starts getting very fidgety. I don't want to sound self-obsessed. What if I'm the problem? What if it's me? I'm the issue. What if this isn't just a random attack? What if this is the champion of a god getting that god's general to fuck up some shit? where I just happen to be.
Janice kind of just like observes her for a couple of seconds of quiet and then leans forward and just like pats her on the shoulder again, just holds her shoulder. Do you think she'd do that to you?
I didn't think she was my greatest fear.
Sometimes fear can be mixed up with many things.
Like what?
Well, you know what my theory is, but you know.
Don't you start. And she like pushes his arm off. Don't you start, Stormbreaker. I can't deal with your theories about me non-existent love life right now.
All right. I won't pry into your love life then. That's fine. But regardless, that sucks.
It does.
I personally think it was a random attack because that's what I have to believe. I think until we found out otherwise, I don't think she's going to appear out of nowhere. I don't think she's going to send some moldy robot thing after you.
In the cave, your family.
Yes.
You think they were real?
Yes.
When did you realize they weren't?
I sort of always knew, I suppose. Well, I suppose the moment that I had to know and had to act as if they weren't real was when I had to start attacking them.
I'm sorry.
When
Don't shrug. Let yourself feel your shit.
I'll do that. It's not. That's scheduled for Wednesday. It's not a Wednesday yet, so I can't do that. Fantasy Wednesday, of course.
Fantasy Wednesday, of course.
Mm.
When the Sphinx told us, that's when I realized.
You believed her.
The only thing I didn't believe was that she'd back off.
Oh, gosh. And he sort of like puts down the little bourbon bottle very carefully on the bed, and then just like stretches out. It's like, normally I'd say just drink more of this, but here we go. And he stretches his arms out and pulls her in for a hug, whether she wishes to or not.
She lets herself be yoinked and is just like, oh, Janice, you huge half-naked Groot.
Sorry.
Grunt.
Too bad. You've grown a conscience. You have to get used to this now.
No. And she hugs him like a normal person. Thank you.
Thank you. Tomorrow will be a better day. We worry about what comes after then.
If we can keep the body count below 19 and the man technically in charge of us, I think we're doing great, honestly.
Yeah, that would be great, honestly. That will be our personal goal. Less than 19 deaths tomorrow. That would be great. I'm sure there's a good story out of that somewhere, but not tonight.
We'll find it someday.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Anytime, sister. Now. And he kind of like half turns it towards and looks out the window. It's like, all right. So you can sort of see how it's like a little bit windy here. Now, you can't bring this up, but I'm pretty sure at one point there was a small gale and it did almost loosen Neris's footing a little bit, so I probably should get an umbrella, like one of those butterfly catchers around.
I knew it. I knew that little waif was going to fly away one day. Oh, when he does, I have to be there. I want to grab onto his ankle like he's a balloon.
It's all right, I'll catch him. So you can enjoy it for the couple of... Okay, all right. That's enough for now.
All right.
He kind of like nudges her hard on the side and then just starts chattering about some stupid thing as he points, like just pointing it to like clouds outside. Like, oh, did you know this formation is called named after me, of course.
Yeah, Loren eagerly listens and accepts all stories, true or otherwise.
All right, Fishman. Is there anything in particular that you are doing?
Is this the day after, or is this still the night of?
This is still the night of.
Yeah, no, he's probably going to have an early night, and do his preparation. I'm not entirely sure. Fishman isn't entirely sure, like, what will happen when he wakes nowadays, because he hasn't got all of his pre-written gibberish all over the walls and roof and such. So he'd probably be taking some extra precautionary measures, making sure that, you know, he can write something on the ceiling, even if it's on like something temporary that he can pull down afterwards. But yeah, he'll probably spend some time preparing that and then go to sleep. Specifically, I guess phrases like Hondi breath and all that.
Okay. So, Neris, as you are resting, you find yourself in a vision in a similar space. The sands of time flowing around you, and you see the familiar figure of your older self, dubbed within this point in the timeline, 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧. So, you have finally seen Ixley, what he is capable of.
What did you do?
I did nothing. I have been where you are, Eris. You have not yet been able to make the decisions that I have had to make. You have not yet seen what is to come, and what should come should you fail to stop. We have a destiny, you and I, and it is rushing towards you. I know you think me a villain. I am merely doing what must be done for the sake of reality.
Why are you afraid of the gods? What did they do to us?
What do you know of the history of the gods?
I only know the creation, and some of them disapproving of what we have become, but only stories.
Do you know why the gods visit upon the material plane?
I do not.
Because those of them with sense realized that they were a liability to existence. They sealed the more unbridled of their ranks away before going into their own exile, never to return. Elements of the magic keeps them at bay, have fragmented. That is natural, but magic is unpredictable. In the grand scheme of the universe, it is imperfect. It has its own, like everything else, degree of entry. But the power of the gods is enough that without interfering with the natural course of humanity, will have run before that of entropy completely diminishes the barrier.
There is still so much to learn. Did you know where I have been?
I know where you have been. I know where you are now. I know the thing you can avoid becoming. A small spark of naive thought that because you have those you care about, you will not fall into the darkness that you think I have. No, Neris, you have not been tested. That time is yet to come. When it does, we will truly see whether you have what it takes to prevent the destruction of everything that is, was, and will be.
What would you have seen in the Sphinx's trial?
Unrivaled destruction.
And you would do anything to stop that?
I would. I am.
I will do anything to stop mine.
Then you must understand. Rose destruction. Unfortunate, yes. Their continued existence would have proven problematic in the events to come. They have... What do you know of animals?
I know some. I know it is completely different to any other form of magic that I've seen. I know that it is important to those. I know that it was part of Rue, and I know that you have taken that from them. What I don't know yet is why.
Animancy is the most raw and primal magic that exists upon the material plane. It is drawn from the entropy of the divine barrier itself. Those who draw their power from it threaten the stability of that barrier.
Is that why you had to take it from Rue? So that nobody else could?
It was the only way. Very few animances reached the level of power that Rue would have while being as active as we were. I have great faith that was one of the key factors in the destruction of the divine barrier.
What if there was any other way? Perhaps something you missed?
To think that I have not explored the options. I am you, Neris. Have you ever known yourself to rush into an answer?
I have known myself to make mistakes.
There was no other way.
Is there still time, or are we spiraling on a path now?
That is yet to be determined. There is an ebb and flow, a push and pull. Every action that we take, I buy time, but ultimately there is a force working against us that would seek to tear down the divine barrier and whatever element of resources it could do so.
Is that what this 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 individual wants?
𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 is not on this planet originally, but as in history, in the shadows had a great influence upon it. He fostered and nurtured the divinity of one Conrad Severin, aiding the dark god in his apotheosis from the shadows. I do not know the full story, but I know that once Conrad was sealed away, 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 began work on bringing him back to the prime material. Sadly, any successful attempt will also result in, shall we say, free passage for all the gods locked away, and everything will come loyal and to yourself.
So he must be stopped.
Yes, but when we succeed, we will bring about a second age of carnage with much more devastating results than the original. I have seen it with my own eyes. That is why I am here, doing all that is in my power. Correct where I went wrong.
So, it seems as if we have our work cut out for us then.
We do.
I've always loved puzzles.
You will learn to hate this one. And the future Neris before you dissolves into sand and disperses within the sands of the hourglass around you. And as you see specks of green sand mixed in with the brown, going down the center of the sands of time, you eventually find yourself awake the new morning.
Well, that's exciting. And Neris will wake up. He's just going to sit up, just bolt upright in his bed, and just play back that memory of the dream that he had. And he probably spends 20-30 minutes just going over that again and again, just the key points, just everything that is important, and one piece of the puzzle that has just always been missing, just one piece of 1,000 just gets slotted into place. And he thinks, and he just kind of cracks his neck a little bit, like he's prone to do when he's thinking a lot about something. And he almost feels like he's got a new sense of purpose, like he understands that potential a little bit more. He finds that power, that growth almost within himself. And he blinks a couple of times, and it's almost unnerving, and he kind of rubs his forehead as he remembers a little story that many years ago a gnomish mentor taught him about divination and the powers that it can have, the ability to see and the opportunities that creates. And as he blinks a couple of times, he gets this ability to almost choose a focus. When he wakes up, his mind is clear, his vision is sharp, almost sharper than what it was before. And he can see perfectly in this room, in this dark room with no windows. He can see perfectly. And he just thinks, and that's all.
And that, I think, is where we're going to leave it for this episode.
See you next week, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, gang.
There's so much happening.
Yep.
And if anyone's wondering where Alton is, he is sleeping. You'll see him next episode.
Yes, the fatigue.
Some of
catching
us
up
go to bed
him.
at a reasonable hour.
All right.
About one of us is Alton. Sorry for listening.
Oh,
Sorry
see
for
you
listening.
next
Have a good week,
guys.
everyone.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
I'm really sorry. We're just going to have to take a quick pause. As soon as you started talking, I knocked over an entire glass of water. And I've been trying to not make it noticed.
I feel
Everyone
like
hydrate yourselves.
And then you said Neris, and I just panicked because I'm like, oh, I was meant to be listening.
Amazing.
I feel like,
Now I'm panicking. Sorry, give me a second.
I feel like this is
I
our
think-
stinger.
It's everywhere.
Oh, I think also if we can tack on as well that like Neris and Janice were just speaking as well. And Janice had basically just offered to. I basically said something along the lines of like, you know, you don't like if you feel like alone, like your crew are here for you, and I will be your shoulder to lean on, pretty much as well, because that was the direct lead into that scene.
It was hella inspirational.
Yeah, it was good. Together we shall change the world.
I've got so much water.
Well, at least you'll be in character for Neris now. Just like slightly moist and grumpy.
Incredibly panicked at everything falling apart.
Yeah. No pressure.
Oh my god. You could probably look back at the recording and see the exact moment where everything fell, and me making the mental decision of, do I like just try and clean it up quietly, or do I just full panic? I think it was a mixture of the two.
Look, that's always a good combo, really.
I'm so sorry. That was a note that I'm sure was important, but that's okay. All right, that's as good as we're getting it. Okay, we're back. I'm so sorry. I need more water.
Rip.
I'm gonna try and not spill this one. Make no promises. An entity of chaos. All right.
Good luck.